understanding that they have a John Brown Boulevard in Haiti. And John Brown Dessalines is portrayed as this anti, he just hated everybody, especially white folks. But in the Haitian Constitution, people, the Polish people have fought, many Poles refused to fight on the side of the French. And Dessalines made, in the Haitian Constitution, these people are considered Haitian and they're considered black. I mean, Dessalines was a man who thought, but when you read the books about Dessalines, he's always portrayed as this man who had no vision. I mean, Toussaint was a strategist and a tactician who made a serious error and, ended up dying in a French prison. But Dessalines led the Haitian Revolution to victory. And Danny Glover is trying to make a film about Haiti. And I think he had got some money from Venezuela. I don't know. Gerald, do you know what's happening with that?
It's probably still in production. I should also mention, as I mentioned in this book, that, as I mentioned in this book, that John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry, Virginia, in an attempt to abolish slavery, was basically planned in Ontario. And in fact, a number of Canadians accompanied him. I'm not sure if we should get into the book now, but I've been eager to mention that
Do that later.
a Canadian, Alexander Milton Ross, I believe, his name is in the book. I write things down because I can't always remember. He rivaled Harriet Tubman, the great black woman abolitionist, in terms of going into the South, rescuing enslaved Africans, and then bringing them to Canada and bringing them to other liberated territories, quote unquote. And then during the U.S. Civil War, he spied on the Confederacy. Of course, his melanin deficiency being useful in that regard. And he also took a very revolutionary approach to slavery. He argued that the enslaved had the right to kill their captors. I'm not sure how well Alexander Milton Ross is known in Canada nowadays.
He's not.
No. But he should be better known. I mean, it's the sort of person who should be on the same level as Dr. Bethune, for example, in terms of being a hero that can inspire future generations. So, and he's written books too, so I'm surprised he's not better known. Anyway.
Well, I wanted to say that we are going to, with Gerald Horne's permission, we wanted to start at 11:30, and I wanted to get him to talk about some current events to review 2/11, and then answer some questions about elections in Taiwan, strife in Nigeria, the situation with Burma, Myanmar, the convention, the Liberal Convention in Ottawa, the whole question of the euro, and the fact that, to quote Dr. Horne, I think he said that Germany is Diana Ross and the rest of the European countries are the Supremes. And it looks like Bob Marley and the Wailers or Peter Tosh and Word, Sound, and Power, but definitely Germany. And Germany just purchased McClellan and Stewart, a Canadian book publishing company. It's been published by, it's just been purchased by a German company. So
is that right?
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. But we're going to get into, there was a convention in, I think it was in New York, many years ago, and Tupac Shakur's mother is a part of this. But it was put on by the Uhuru movement, and it was about reparations. And we wanted to, until 11:30, we have about a little 30-something minutes, but this is a documentary dealing with the whole question of reparations, and we wanted to play that for your listening pleasure. Like I said, we believe in something called African Liberation Month or Black Liberation Month, because we know that Black History Month started as Negro History Week, and as time went by, African people became, we dropped the Negro. We moved from a week to a month, and some of us feel that it's time to talk about liberation. Like the Negro Comrades of the Crown is liberation history. That is definitely not to put anybody down in terms of the inventors and things like that, because history is dynamic and people that invent things are very important. But what is lost many times during Black History Month is that people that control this thing really promote a lot of sellouts. Burger King and people like that. You know, you might see posters of the kings and queens of Africa, and Africa, like any other continent, went through the slave society, communalism, and feudalism.
My objective is to bring people.
That was O'Malley and Shatella.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And my objective is basically to introduce this. But I was saying, I done lost my quiet.
Black History Month.
Black History Month is very, very important. But I'm saying it has been co-opted by the state with the cooperation of the petty bourgeoisie. For example, now people might be bigging up Susan Rice or bigging up Mobutu or Baby Doc, Papa Doc.
Oh no.
You know, I mean,
I don't think it's gotten that bad, has it?
No, it hasn't. I'm just. What do you call that?
Hyperbole.
Hyperbole, right? Being a little dramatic. Yeah, just trying to make my point. But we wanted to play about half an hour of this convention, and come back, and we're going to begin with the question and answer. I mean, we're going to begin with. I'm going to interview Dr. Horne, then we'll talk about the book, and then we're going to open up the floor. After Mr. Horne talks about the two books, and you will have your chance to speak, because Gerald likes to interact with the audience. And
can you have call-in from around the world?
I don't think we can do that. We are. I think we could do that next time when you launch your 3 new books.
You must have a Skype icon on there, right?
You know about Skype?
Of course. I know about that.
All right, let's listen to the Uhuru Movement's Reparations Tribunal. And this is Regent Radio, broadcasting, streaming live on Justin TV.
The political life, and to bring people into revolutionary organizations so that we can change our conditions of existence. That's why in 1982, when we held in New York the World Tribunal on Reparations for Black people in the United States, we were doing it not because we are a reparations organization. We are not a reparations organization.
We're getting ready. We're not opening up the phones right now. We're going to present Dr. Gerald Horne. We're going to have a question and answer period. I'm going to ask him some questions about some current events. And I guess the first thing I wanted to ask,
Oh, good. You're right.
Dr. Horne is, I know that he's a keen observer of the Canadian Canadian political scene. Mm-hmm. He's a big fan of Michael Ignatieff.
Oh, let's go.
They're having a.
That's not true. Just in case anybody is wondering.
You have warned me about you when you see that.
I'm the one who termed him the Massachusetts candidate. As a play on the Manchurian Candidate, if you recall. That movie, did you ever see that movie?
Great movie, yeah.
They try to smuggle in a leader.
Frank Sinatra?
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
and then with Denzel later on.
Right,
Yeah.
Classic case, Massachusetts candidate.
Well, yeah, I have to give it up. You did do that. But let me ask you, the question is that they're having the liberals are having a convention as we speak, and Ignatieff has made it clear, crystal clear, that he is not going to run again.
Is that right?
Yeah, he was even on the radio this morning.
Do you believe him?
Yeah, I believe him because he can't. I mean, it was a disaster. How do you evaluate? You think the Liberal Party can come back? And there's talk about a merger between the Liberals and the NDP.
You're kidding.
I mean, people are talking about it. I don't think it'll ever happen. But
Yeah.
how do you see that?
Well, first of all, let me say I'm so happy to be in Canada, and I always have to watch myself when I'm in Canada, because sometimes when I come to Canada, it's still this feeling, I know, don't get nervous, I still have this feeling of liberated territory. It's almost like I'm a runaway slave. And then people on the left, they get upset because they say I'm echoing the line of the Canadian ruling elite, and etc. But just to use an analogy, if I say that Stephen Harper is more handsome than the troll under the bridge, that doesn't mean that Stephen Harper is handsome. That means he's more handsome than the troll under the bridge. So in other words, if I seem to be saying something positive about Canada, it's only in juxtaposition to the United States. I'm not making any absolute statements about Canada. So don't get upset if you may mishear me. But with regard to the liberals, I mean, what my sources tell me, as the journalists say, that the young Mr. Trudeau is in line for a leading role in the Liberal Party, and that he is being primed like Rahul San in India, is the leader of a familial legacy.
The pundits are saying that Justin is not ready for prime time. Many of the pundits are saying that he's not ready for prime time because he needs more time to groom himself, and he is.
How old is he?
I guess he would be in his 40s, I would assume.
I mean, how much more time does he need?
I tend to agree with the pundits in terms. I think they would have more. You know who is on the list? Is Sheila Cox is running is part of the. She's like a blast from the past, but I mean, being a woman who was basically kicked out of politics, you know. I mean, she's running, and I don't know, but yeah, Justin. I think they could have somebody better than True Justin, but I think Justin has more name recognition.
What are his politics like? Is he to the left of Ignatieff?
Is Texas big? Yeah, no, he's no.
Okay, sorry.
He is definitely. Well, anybody can be to the left. I mean, Ignatieff is a conservative claiming to be in the Liberal Party. I don't understand how.
So, how has the NDP fared since Jack Layton's unfortunate demise?
They've had a defection. A woman from Quebec went over to the Liberal Party, and Bob Ray is having. He's turning back over flips. It's like he's saying, you know, here we are in opposition, and we have someone defecting from the NDP to the Liberal Party. So he's very happy about that. But they are going to a leadership situation relatively soon. Jack Layton's position has been. They had just had an election in his riding, and who won Jack Layton's?
He was at the talk yesterday. 1300.
Craig Scott got the nomination.
Yeah, I think that's the guy's
Craig
name.
Scott.
Craig Scott.
Craig
yeah.
Scott, right.
Yeah.
I don't know personally. I don't know anything about him in terms of his politics.
Well, I mean, in terms of looking at Canada, let's put it in a larger context, because it seems to me that the international community is at an inflection point in terms of politics. On the one hand, I mean, for example, you have in this hemisphere you have the rise of Brazil, which in terms of simple gross domestic product has just passed Britain as the number 6 power in the world, has more embassies in Africa than Britain does. It's challenged U.S. imperialism in the hemisphere, for example, the ouster of President Zelaya in Honduras. And then, of course, you know that the North Atlantic countries, including Canada, well, let me exclude Canada for the time being. The North Atlantic countries, particularly the United States, are they're rather hysterical about the rise of China. In fact, U.S. imperialism will be bringing soldiers back from Europe, where they've been since the end of World War II, so they can concentrate more on China and West Asia. In fact, the two are connected, because as you know, it looks like there's going to be a military attack on Iran